Can you believe that there are 10 more bottles of bourbons and whiskeys that you need to be keeping your eye out on in the month of October? What are they? Let's find out. What is going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker. Everybody has a brand new video. Today, we're going to be going over 10 more bottles of bourbons and whiskeys that you as a bourbon and whiskey drinker need to be keeping your eyes out on throughout the month of October and November, because right now we are in allocation season and distributors are dropping bottles of bourbons and whiskeys left and right. Now, I'm feeling under the weather. That's why I figured, you know what, let's drop another one of these videos, because as I was looking through all of my outlets that I do to find out these bottles for you guys so that you don't have to do the research, you just have to go out there and look for these pictures that I let you know about. I saw a bunch more bottles that I was very, very interested in that I think most of you are as well. Now, some of these have already been released, some of them are being released this week, and some of them aren't coming out for another couple of weeks. Now, before we get into my bottles I'm going to let you know about, I want to see in the comments below what bottles you're most excited for throughout the month of October and going into November. Make sure you guys drop that like, smash that subscribe button. If you see these right here, right, these are not a figment of your imagination. The pick has finally come in. It looks better than absolute ever, and we've got a handful of these left, so if you are interested in it, make sure you click the link out down below to the store. Check out the Patreon. Patrons get first dibs in on these bottles, the picks and everything, and more are to come, and you guys don't want to miss out on those. But without further ado, let's get into the bottles that you should be keeping an eye out on coming up. Bottle number one you need to be keeping your eye out on is Old Grandad 16 year. Now, this is a 16-year aged bottle of bourbon that is bottled at 100 proof. Now, I personally don't think I'm going to be picking this bottle up, only because it has an MSRP of, I believe, $160. Now, that, in my personal opinion, is just a little bit too much dough to be spending on a 16-year-old bottle of bourbon that is at 100 proof. Now, if this came out at barrel proof or even 114 proof, what Old Grandad 114 is, I think I'd snag this bottle up in an absolute heartbeat. But at 100 proof, 160 bucks, I'm gonna lay off on it. But I know a lot of you guys that are Jim Beam fans and fans of just high-aged bottles of bourbons, this is one that you should be keeping your eye out on. It's a nice, big, bright yellow label on a bottle. Can't go wrong with that if you're a fan of it. Let's get into bottle number two. Bottle number two is one that I can't wait to get my hands on. It's in the mail right now, and I'm going to be doing a review for you guys. It's the Bardstown Double Wheated Bourbon. Now, this is the first ever, I believe, mash bill of a bourbon that has 39% wheat. Now, this is a 6-year-old bottle of bourbon from Bardstown. We've loved, and it's part of their Origin series as well. We've loved every single Origin series that we've had here on this channel, and I can only imagine at 106 proof, this one is going to be absolutely stellar as well. I know a lot of other people have done reviews on this bottle, and they've absolutely loved it. Could be bourbon of the year. You never know, but we're going to be getting our hands on this bottle here very soon and doing a review for you after I heal up a little bit from this sore throat action that's going on right now, and I can start drinking some whiskey, because that one I'm very excited for. Let's get into bottle number three. Bottle number three is a Barrell Bourbon Company release. This one is, you know how they've done their Amberana and then their Tale of Two Islands, and then last year, or the early parts of this year, they did the Mizunara finish. Now they're doing an ice wine cask finished bottle of bourbon. This is a 5-year-old, I believe, at 106 proof, and this thing sounds super, super interesting. If you've never had ice wine before, it's not made every single year because the conditions have to be absolutely perfect. It's a super, super, super sweet, chilled dessert style wine. I absolutely love ice wine. Served super, super in small quantities, because it's not your typical glass of wine. It's not something you have with dinner. It's an after dinner, like dessert style wine, and super, super sweet, like I said. So I can only imagine what this might influence in these bourbons, right? As we all know, Barrell uses some really low age stuff and then super, super high age stuff. They're masters at blending, so I can only imagine this is going to come out absolutely fantastic. And that ice wine, I can't wait to see what this has as an influence on this whiskey. Let's get into our next bottle that you need to be keeping an eye out on. Our next bottle is one that only has 5,000 of them released to the public, and that is going to be the Widow Jane Black Opal. This is a 99 proof, 20-year-old bottle of bourbon. That's astronomical to me. I don't know what this thing is going to be like. I mean, we all know that 90 proof, 18-year Elijah Craig isn't the best. Some people love it, some people really hate it. I'm right in the middle where it's like, I don't need a bottle of it, right? If it's in front of me, I'll have it, but if I'm not in the mood for it, I'm not gonna have that bottle. Now this one, at 99 proof and 20 years old, I can only imagine what this thing is going to taste like, and it's going to have a heavy oak influence. I can imagine it's going to dry your mouth out like crazy, make you want to go back in for another sip. So that Black Opal from Widow Jane sounds really intriguing to me. I don't know what MSRP on this bad boy is going to be, but I can only imagine it's going to have a pretty pricey price tag. But let's get into our next one, which is another limited release. Our next bottle is the Rare Character Limited Release 1. This one only had 1,320 bottles released of it. It was in that 113, 114 proof range. Not quite sure the age on this, but Rare Characters dropped some fantastic bottles in the past, and they will be dropping some really nice bombshell bottles here in the future as well. Now this Rare Character Limited Release 1, it's another pricey bottle, but from what I've heard and from what I've seen, it's an absolute stud muffin of a bottle of bourbon that you can't go wrong with. So keep your eyes out on those. Not quite sure if they're still available or not. I know that their website was sold out, but keep an eye out for your local liquor stores and online to see if you can find that bottle, because it's an absolute beautiful bottle and it probably tastes even better. Let's get into our next bottles. Now, our next bottles, I gotta look at my phone because I'm not gonna remember all of this stuff. This is the Penelope Estate Collection. There are multiple bottles in this, but this is what Penelope's newest line is going to look like. They've got their single barrel that's going to be at around 98 proof, and this is a 10-year single barrel. Next up, they have their Private Select. This is 101 proof at 9 years old. Their Founders Reserve, which is 110 proof, and then the Omega, which is going to be a French oak finish with a higher proof point on it as well. So that's what all of these bottles right here are going to be. Really beautiful bottle design. These have started to drop in some areas. I love what Penelope's looking like, what they're doing, dropping some fantastic stuff. So I can't wait to possibly be getting my hands on some of these to bring you guys some reviews. Now let's get into our second to last bottle that you need to be getting your eyes out on. River Roots Empire Crust by the Everyday Drinker. I'm just kidding. But make sure you go check out the link down below to purchase this. Let's get the next bottle is actually going to be the Woodford Reserve Masters Collection. This one's finished in wine and brandy barrels. Again, finished at proof down to 90.4 proof. I wish we could get something a little bit heftier with these. Give us what that full barrel of bourbon has to offer. I've personally never liked a Woodford Masters Collection offering. I always find them to be either too far this way or too far that way. They really don't sit well, in my personal opinion, on my palate. I know a lot of guys chase on, a lot of guys like to get that full collection, and more power to you. Keep your eyes out on this one, but let's get into our last and final bottle. Our last and final bottle is going to be the Castle and Key 7-year wheated bottle of bourbon. This is a 7-year-old coming in at 105.6 proof. I've liked a couple Castle and Key offerings. Their single barrels are, in my personal opinion, a little bit better than their batches. But this one at 106 proof, it's going to be a little bit higher proof than their other offerings that are in that like 100 proof range. Definitely keep your eyes out on these. It's a little bit higher of an age as well. Could bring in a little bit more flavor than what those other offerings have to offer. Not quite sure what pricing on this is going to be. Might be in that $60, maybe pushing $70 range. But yeah, I mean, those are the bottles that I think you need to be keeping your eyes out on coming into the end of October, going into November, right? I mean, we're going to be getting the King Kentuckys. We're going to be getting the B-Tax and the Pappies, but those are all going to be in the lotteries, right? These are bottles that should be hitting shelves for you to be walking into a store and find for a relatively decent price rather than spending an arm and a leg and half of your life savings, right? So, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, click that comment section. Let me see what bottles you're excited about, and make sure you guys hit that subscribe. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Click the link out down below for the Patreon. Click the link out down below to buy my first ever single barrel. We only have a handful of bottles left, and would love to get that sold out. But until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.